ASMR. I am Ari, and today I'm set up here in my bathroom to wash some of my makeup brushes. So I have this towel over here on the side and this makeup brush stand that's already put together, but it's a little plastic stand that I can just put brushes in, and it just kind of helps them dry out a little bit. So we have this. Just gonna set this off to the side. And here are my makeup brushes that I'm going to be cleaning today. So I have them in just a little glass kind of container with some decorative pebbles that helps keep them standing. So that's what we're going to be cleaning today. And I'm going to be using this makeup brush cleaner. I generally kind of use anything. I'm not too picky really. I think I just got this off of Amazon. So this is what we're going to use to clean my makeup brushes. And I also have this brush scrub tool, and it has all of these different textures. And these just really help get the soap down into the bristles of the brush. And it has these little suction cups on the back. And so you can just kind of pop it right into your sink, just like that. And then it doesn't, move around a ton as you're doing it. So let's go ahead and get started with this first brush. This is a big powder brush. This is what I usually like to use for my bronzer. So I am first going to get this brush wet with some water. Just kind of run it under the sink a little bit. And then I'm going to put on some soap. For these bigger brushes, I'm probably going to do a couple rounds of soap, but I'm just going to do some soap and scrub it on the little scrubber here. Just make sure that really gets into the bristles. I usually like to keep doing this until the water runs clean. I'm going to try and leave a good amount of space with no talking in this video as well, just to enjoy the water sounds. I'm going to put on some more soap for this brush, just do a nice double cleanse. Really give that a good scrub. And rinse it under the water. Do some more scrubbing. I feel like that's getting quite a bit better now. If you couldn't tell, I'm doing a voiceover on this because I wanted to make sure the sounds really came through for the camera first, and then I could just throw my voiceover on top and just edit them separately. So watching this back, it is also very relaxing because I do love water sounds. There is that one brush done, and I'm just going to put it down into the holder just like this. And move on to the next brush. And this one is a contour brush. So I'm just going to get it wet. And put some more soap on this one. I guess soap for the first time on this one. and give it a good scrub on the little scrubber tool. It's kind of hard to see from this angle, but there's all of that makeup runoff in the water, so I'm really trying to just scrub it until that water comes clean. I like to run my fingers through the bristles. Just make sure the water gets down into it. And I'm going to add some more soap onto this one. I like to move it in different directions on all of the textures. And I feel like I'm generally pretty rough with my makeup brushes. I could probably stand to be a little bit more gentle when I'm cleaning them, but I've had these brushes for quite a few years and they have done me very, very well. These ones are just from Shop Missy, and they're very affordable brushes, and I think that they're really, really good quality. There's that one done. So now I'm going to do my big kind of stippling brush that I like to use for my foundation if I'm using a brush. I do kind of go back and forth between using a brush or using a makeup sponge. This one I'm going to get wet and then put some soap and really scrub this one a lot, because this one is kind of the primary one I use with like my most liquid form of makeup, because I do use liquid foundation. And most of the time it's honestly just like tinted moisturizer is what I use. And I'm going to give that a rinse, and you can see all of that run off. So this one's definitely going to need some more soap, but it's kind of a good initial first clean. Really scrubbing into those textures, really trying to get as much of the makeup and soap out. And I'm going to add some more soap. Just really, really scrub this brush. This one, I don't know if it would be considered like a kabuki brush, because it's kind of, I think, smaller than what I would think for a typical kabuki brush, so I don't know if it would just be considered like a stippling brush. I don't really know. But it's really, really good for foundation. I do really like this one for foundations. I feel like I'm able to apply things really quickly with it, and I can blend things out really nicely, and then I can use the brush to kind of stipple the foundation once it's applied, just to kind of smooth out the texture, and I feel like the finish just looks a lot nicer. I'm going to call that one good, and I'm going to put that on the other kind of largest setting there. And let's do my blush brush. So I expect this one to have, typically when I clean it, it's got kind of more the pink runoff, just because that's just the color of the blushes. Do some soap and give this one a good scrub. And rinse it off. Honestly, the runoff here I feel like just kind of looks like my generic skin tone, like makeup color, but I think in real life it's a little bit more like pink. I really like kind of mauve blushes. I think that usually fits my skin tone best. This one does also need a little bit more soap. It's not as dirty as some of the other ones, but it did still need kind of a double cleanse. And I do usually like to, as you're seeing, just like rub the brush along my hand like that to kind of like fan out the end bristles a little bit. But also while they're drying, I kind of go through and do this too. This next brush is my highlighting brush. So this one doesn't usually have too much color on it. It's usually just kind of a little bit like sparklier. That's kind of mostly, it's like I use champagne colored highlighters. So that's kind of the main runoff for this one. And I certainly don't use as much highlighter as I used to, you know, back in like 2016. But I do still like to use some highlighter on the tops of my cheeks and a little bit down my nose, not too much. And then I do like a little bit under my brows, so like on my brow bone. And then I do, kind of my go-to is to do a little bit, I just take my finger and do a little bit of highlighter on the inner corner of my eye. That one was pretty quick and easy. My next brush is this stippling brush that I like to use for my concealer, because it is pretty much just a small version of the big stippling brush that I use for foundation. So this, I feel like, really blends out my concealer really nicely. I used to primarily just use makeup sponges, and I feel like it typically worked pretty well for me. And then I don't know if it's just my skin type as I got older or what, but I felt like some products weren't sitting as nicely on my skin when I applied it with a damp beauty blender compared to like my brushes. So I kind of go back and forth depending on the product, on whether I'm using a sponge or a brush. These days I feel like I'm kind of leaning more towards the brushes. That one didn't need too much. It's already clean. And then my last kind of like face brush here is this concealer brush that is kind of best for like patting on concealer. So maybe if I have a blemish that I'm really trying to spot conceal, this is the brush that I'll use to put concealer on that. So this one, you can see it does have quite a bit of runoff. And it's a slightly different like texture, or like the bristles are quite a different feel than the other ones. The other ones are quite soft. This one is a lot more compact and a little bit flatter, so I feel like that makes it really, really nice for kind of like a patting brush, where I can just dab a little concealer on it and just kind of pat it where I need to on my face. That one is all done. So those are all of my face brushes, or at least my main face brushes. So I'm going to flip my little holder here, my stand, and I'm going to move into my eyeshadow brushes. So I'm going to start with this main blending brush. This is kind of my go-to eyeshadow blending brush. It's just like a really nice round brush. I feel like it gets into my crease really nicely, and it's just really versatile, and so I use it for a lot. I'm just really scrubbing this right in all of that kind of different texture on the scrubber tool, just to make sure I'm really getting into the bristles. It's always really fun to see the ends of my brushes kind of turn out white again. And these brushes are kind of it's like a tapered color. They're meant to be dark at the bottom, and then they're like lighter colored bristles at the top. And this brush here is another eyeshadow blending brush. It's like a fluffy blending brush, and I got this one in an Ipsy bag, and right now I don't recall what the brand is. I think I was trying to show it here in the video, but I didn't see. But it's a really good fluffy blending brush. I do really like to use this one to kind of blend slightly darker colors from the outer corner of my eye in to my crease. And it's always nice to have multiple blending brushes when you're doing a little bit more of an intensive eye look with multiple colors. One right next to this one here in the stand. And this one is a kind of pointed or tapered blending brush. So this one I like to use with usually my darkest color that I'm blending out. And it's really good for kind of pointed blending and like targeted blending when I'm really trying to be quite precise with where the color is going. And usually that means it's kind of in my outer, corner of my eye when I'm trying to do maybe an outer V for an eye look. This one's really good for that. And this one is, I guess I use it more like a face brush. It's kind of a flat blending brush. And this would be good for blending eyeshadow, but I primarily use it for more precise contouring. So usually on the sides of my nose, if that's what I'm wanting to, if I want to do a little contour, this is the brush that I use for that, because obviously it's a lot more precise than my regular contouring brush for my cheeks. This one here is a small, flat packing brush, and I like to use this one for shimmer shadows. So if I'm doing maybe a nice shimmer across my eyelid, this is the brush that I like to use for that. It's very small and the bristles are very condensed, so I feel like it really picks up the shimmer shadows nicely. Just give that one a good rinse, and it's done. This one here is another flat packing brush. This is one that I use usually for more matte shadows, just because it's a little bit bigger. So I feel like I don't need as much precision as I like to have for my shimmer shadows, which is why for my shimmer shadows I use the smaller brush. This next one is a smaller flat shadow brush that I don't really use it too often unless I'm doing eyeshadow looks that have a lot of colors and I want separate brushes. Then I'll use this one, but other than that, I really don't use it too much. But I do want to wash it just to make sure it's nice and clean too. This one here is a small, thin, angled brush. And this one I like to use for my eyebrows. Now I don't really use this one too often anymore. I use it every now and then with eyeshadow powder or like eyebrow powder, but I found a pencil from e.l.f., like an eyebrow pencil that I really like, and so I feel like I've been using that one kind of more frequently than my like eyebrow powder color to fill in my eyebrows. This one is a flat, thin eyeliner brush, or at least I call it an eyeliner brush because that's kind of how I use it. So you can see the end is very dark because I usually use my darkest color here to maybe line my top and bottom lid and kind of smudge it out a little bit, make it a little bit more diffuse. I used to do liquid eyeliner and that was like my go-to move for makeup, and now I don't really do it too often. I do it sometimes if I'm really feeling like it, if I'm really wanting to get, dressed up and we're going out or something, maybe I'll do liquid eyeliner, but for the most part, I feel like I just kind of do like a dark brown shade along my lash line. And this here is a mascara spoolie. This is another one that I don't really use too often because my e.l.f. brow pencil brush, or sorry, just not brush, but my e.l.f. brow pencil has a brush just like this on the end, and so usually I will do kind of my filling in with the pencil side and then flip it and just kind of brush it through with the spoolie that's just attached. So I don't use this one too often, but I do use it every now and then, especially if I am filling in my brows just with powder. And this one is an eyebrow comb brush, or it has like a comb on one side and a little brush on the other side. And this one, again, I don't really use this one too often. Sometimes I'll use the little comb to try and comb through my eyelashes if they got really clumpy from my mascara for some reason, but generally it's not something I usually use every time I do my makeup. Alright, and that is the last of the brushes that I had. So my little stand here is empty. Here is the little drying stand with all of the brushes. And one thing I really like about the stand is that I can pull the top off, just like this. And then I like to flip it so that my brushes are facing down. And that way, I just feel like they kind of dry a little bit faster because the water is able to just run down the brush. And next, I am going to wash my makeup sponges. So I have a mix of beauty blenders, and these are ones that I actually just also have from Shop Missy. except for the little one. I think this one came in an Ipsy bag as well. So I don't remember what brand this one is. And for my sponges, I do like to replace them. I probably don't replace them as frequently as I should, but whenever I get new sponges from Shop Miss A, I usually just get their 6-pack. And again, because I don't use my sponges every time I'm doing my makeup, and recently I've just been gravitating towards the makeup brushes, I feel like my sponges have been lasting for a lot longer. But I just know that these really can harbor a lot of bacteria, and I'm not doing a full, sanitation clean on these. Like, there is probably, makeup and stuff left over in these, so I don't like the idea of just using the same sponge over and over and over again, knowing that it's not getting fully clean. So I kind of do my best, and then just kind of use it, until I feel like I can't really get it much cleaner anymore. So like these ones are pretty messy on the ends because I like to use the big round edge for foundation and then the pointed tip for my concealer. So I'm just gonna kind of wring the water through the sponge and try and wring out that soap and makeup. And I think the sponges usually take me quite a while to wash, just because I like to just repeat this process a lot for each sponge. I am sure there are probably more effective ways for me to clean these sponges. I don't know that this is, obviously it's not the most effective, but I don't really know any other ways that I could be cleaning these sponges. So if you have tips or tricks on how I could be better cleaning these, I am, all ears. I'm happy to hear it. But I do really like the Shop Miss A sponges. They have quite a few different textures. These ones are their paw sponges, and so these ones are kind of for a charity. The Shop Miss A has an animal charity, and so certain proceeds from these sponges go towards that charity, and they're just really good sponges separately. So I feel like, I'm getting really good makeup sponges for a very affordable price, and part of the proceeds go to a lovely charity. So that's really nice. I do really love Shop Miss A. I feel like Shop Miss A has been my go-to since the beginning of my college days because they were so affordable, and it was really quite good makeup and really good makeup tools. And there were some hit or miss products on the website, but for the most part, for their branded products, I generally, had a pretty good luck with those. And I'm gonna call it for this sponge. You can see there's still some staining here on the edge because I think I've had this sponge for probably too long now. So this might be the last wash for this sponge, and next time I might just throw this away and replace it. I'm gonna move on to the next one here. Just do the same process. I feel like it's kind of a painstaking process. Just rinse the water through the sponge, just kind of squeeze it out. I wonder if it would be better if I just let it soak. If I filled up my sink with hot water and the makeup brush cleaner and I just threw my sponges in there and let them soak in it. I wonder if that would be better. I don't know, maybe I'll have to do some research. I feel like I've been using makeup sponges for far too long to be this unsure of how to clean them. water sounds. I don't know why, there's something about water that is just so relaxing. It kind of reminds me a little bit of some early ASMR videos, and there was one in particular that I don't think it had any running water, but it was by, I think it was the Water Whispers Ilsa, if anyone remembers her and her channel. But I think she had a video where she was just kind of like playing and splashing in some water with her hands, and I loved that video, and I'll have to find that and give it another listen because I haven't watched that video in a really long time, and I imagine I would still find it really relaxing, but this is kind of reminding me of that a little bit. And I forgot that I had done a makeup brush video, I think back in 2025, and so I'll try and link that in the description if you're wanting to watch that other video, like if you really enjoy this one and want some more water sounds. That one, I think I was a little limited with the sound editing because I was talking while I was doing the washing, so I'm like right now I'm doing a voiceover, and that just makes the sound editing a lot easier. But in that video I just was talking while I was washing my brushes, and so I had forgotten that was why when I did this one, why I wanted to have it be separate, because I thought it would be a little bit easier for me to edit the sounds so that you can really hear the water nicely and have my voice be kind of balanced with it. But if you want to watch that other video, I'll have that linked in the description. This one, you can see there's also a good amount of staining and makeup still just kind of sitting right inside the sponge. So this one I'm going to have to give it a really good squeeze and try and get out as much of that makeup as I can. Definitely need some more soap. So I put the soap on, and then I usually try and really massage it into the sponge and really lather it up and try and have it reach all of that makeup to help get it out of the sponge. This one had enough that I'm going to do a little more soap. And really just try and massage out that makeup as best I can. It's always really fun to see like how much brighter pink they are after I wash them compared to before, which also reminds me that I need to be washing my brushes and my sponges a lot more frequently than I do. is all that I'm going to do for this sponge. So now I have my 4 makeup sponges all nice and clean as well. So now I have some nice fresh sponges and brushes. Here are my brushes all face down drying. So I have these just kind of ready to dry now. And I usually like to leave them for kind of a day or two just to make sure they're fully dry. I hope that you enjoyed this video and hearing the water sounds. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you have a wonderful rest of your day. Goodbye.